Good morning and welcome to World News here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. Diplomats from Russia and the United States are convening in Istanbul on Thursday for a fresh round of talks aimed at mending the strained relationship between the two countries. Now, the discussions follow a shift in U.S. policy under Donald Trump's administration, which moved away from isolating Russia and instead sought to restore ties with Moscow. Now, the discussions are led by the respective top diplomats of each country, Marco Rubio from the United States and Sergei Lavrov from Russia. The main focus of the meeting is expected to revolve around restoring diplomatic missions in Moscow and Washington, D.C. The U.S. State Department said that Thursday's talks will not include discussions on Ukraine. However, American officials view these meetings as a test of Russia's commitment to engage in meaningful discussion. Security guarantees will be a top priority in talks with Trump, said President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in his address to the nation. Now, Ukraine's head of state will travel to Washington, D.C. on Friday.
Our teams are engaging with the United States and we are preparing for negotiations this Friday. The agreement with the United States, support for our country and our people, peace and security guarantees, these are key to ensuring that Russia never again destroys the lives of other nations. I will meet with President Trump. It is crucial for me and for all of us in the world that American aid is not halted. Strength is essential on the path to peace.
Kyiv and Washington have reached an agreement on a draft deal concerning Ukraine's mineral deposits. Now, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal announced the news, revealing the details of the bilateral agreement establishing terms and conditions for a reconstruction investment fund.
Ukraine has an abundant supply when it comes to minerals.
This is a preliminary agreement that provides for further legal action, meaning the future creation of an investment fund for the reconstruction of Ukraine, where both Ukraine and the United States will manage and fill up this fund on equal footing.
International companies might hesitate to invest in Ukraine due to security concerns, but a new deal with Washington could suggest it is safe and profitable to continue investing in Ukraine.
Someone needs to excavate these deposits, and you need money for that. Right now, Ukraine spends money on the war and their survival. Some companies need to put money there, whether they'll be American or European. That's a matter of negotiations. But Ukraine certainly doesn't want Russian companies to work on the deposits.
The new deal between Washington and Kyiv details a plan for that.
Future revenues received by Ukraine from rents or licenses for minerals, from dividends on infrastructure facilities used for transportation or extraction of the relevant minerals, this will be Ukraine's contribution. We will invest 50% of such revenues into this fund, jointly with the US, for the recovery of Ukraine.
Some of Ukraine's deposit sites are currently occupied by Russia. While the agreement does not mention any deposits by location, it does detail the U.S. support for Ukraine's efforts to obtain security guarantees needed to establish lasting peace.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer arrived in Washington, D.C. following the announcement of the largest increase in London's defense budget since the Cold War. Now, during his visit to the United States, Starmer is scheduled to meet President Trump. In a statement delivered at the British Embassy in Washington, Starmer emphasized the importance of U.S.-UK relations, and he highlighted the shared values that bind both countries.
I'm here to meet another close friend of the United Kingdom, President Trump. And my message is really simple, that there is no more important relationship for the United Kingdom in defence, in security, in trade, in tech, in finance, and so much more. We share fundamental values of openness, of democracy, freedom of speech, freedom to thrive, and freedom to pursue the future. A freedom which, this week, we've shown our willingness to defend with the biggest sustained increase in our defence spending since the Cold War.
The United States will soon impose general import tariffs on the European Union. Donald Trump said this during his cabinet meeting on Wednesday. Now, the move aligns with Trump's earlier statements signaling potential trade measures against the bloc.
We have made a decision. We'll be announcing it very soon, and it'll be 25%, generally speaking, and that'll be on cars and all other things. And European Union is a different case than Canada, different kind of case. They've really taken advantage of us in a different way.
And as a response to Trump's 25% tariff introductions on EU imports, the European Commission will react firmly and immediately. Now, the spokesperson for the European Commission called Trump's plan an unjustified barrier to free and fair trade, adding that the tariffs are used to challenge legal and non-discriminatory policies. Trump teased the announcement during his first cabinet meeting on Wednesday.
We got to get there first, but
European leaders convened for online crisis talks following French President Emmanuel Macron's meeting with the U.S. president. Now, although formal statements regarding the video conference have not yet been released, Ukrainian defensive needs were a key topic on the agenda. Our EU correspondent Angela Skujins reports from Brussels.
United and in solidarity, we will find a good way to end this war. These comments belong to Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk and were posted online following an emergency video conference between European leaders. That Polish Prime Minister was a part of these confidential 30-minute dialogue, which was brokered by European Council President Antonio Costa. While much of this discussion is under wraps for now, we do know that the thrust of this dialogue was to ensure that European leaders were on the same page regarding the rapid-fire developments of the Ukraine and Russia ceasefire negotiations, as well as simmering transatlantic tensions between Washington and Brussels. We're particularly talking about those tariffs, as well as questions regarding the continental security architecture. But our leaders also met online today to hammer out the agenda for an emergency European Council summit scheduled for next week, where European defensive needs sit at the top of that docket, as well as Ukrainian defence. But the rhetoric that we're hearing from European leaders here today is a lot of promises. The European Commission has promised to give Ukraine 3.5 billion euros. We're expecting that Ukraine will use this money to shore up more military equipment. The EU top foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas also says that European leaders will next week finalise a military package which will help Ukraine on the battlefield in the skies. The aim of this is to strengthen Kyiv at the negotiating table with Russia. We know that French President Emmanuel Macron was in Washington yesterday, where he reiterated Europe's position for more security guarantees to make sure the Kremlin will not exploit a loophole in these ceasefire negotiations. But according to media reports, that 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, was keen to emphasise his desire to close these ceasefire talks. Angela Skujins from Brussels for TVP World.
The leader of Germany's CDU and Chancellor hopeful Friedrich Merz traveled to Paris to meet with Emmanuel Macron. Now, this is his first visit abroad following his victory in Germany's recent federal elections. Now, according to German newspaper Bild, the meeting is likely to cover the recent talks between Macron and Donald Trump in the White House. Friedrich Merz was also described as a proponent of close cooperation between France and Germany, as well as the Weimar Triangle, which consists of both France and Germany and includes Poland. Romanian politicians commented on the detention of Călin Georgescu, the far-right populist presidential candidate. He was brought in for questioning by Romanian police, after which the prosecution opened a criminal investigation into his alleged involvement in election fraud.
We first have to see the accusations, if they will take him in front of a judge. I don't know. We need to see the accusations first, and after that we can speak. I saw a brief of the accusations, I read them from the media. They are serious accusations and, in my opinion, we, the politicians, should not intervene, should not comment. This is not something normal. You should all think of how this could have happened within only 1 hour and a half before he collected all the necessary documents for him to submit his candidacy. This is an abuse of a totalitarian state.
We announced to the system that we won't live this down, and we will support Georgescu till the end. We don't believe this is a coincidence. They had no proof against him. They detained him a couple of hours before he filled in his candidacy. He was stopped in traffic. We will not accept this. The authorities would make a mistake if they took him to the hearing without having any evidence against him. Therefore, I don't think there is no evidence. Everybody knows that Georgescu didn't have a correct campaign because he announced a zero cost for his campaign. We are not children. We all know that a zero-cost campaign can't be successful.
On Wednesday evening, Serbia's parliament rejected a court verdict sentencing President Milorad Dodik. Now, the charges stem from Dodik's actions in 2023 when he refused to comply with High Representative for Bosnia and Herzegovina, Christian Schmidt. Now, according to the parliament, the sentence of the Sarajevo court amounts to a coup, potentially leading to the destruction of the constitutional order in the country. Now, at Wednesday evening's parliament session, lawmakers in Banja Luka called on the government to draft regulations banning certain institutions in Serbian parts of the country. Citing the Dayton Agreement of 1995, the politicians said that not every institution in Bosnia had been enshrined in the constitution. Dodik's trial was marked by significant pressure from his supporters, who attended every hearing. In the lead-up to the verdict, Dodik's political allies and Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić publicly defended him, challenging the judicial process. Milorad Dodik, who served as president since 2022, is known from his previous statements rejecting Bosnia and Herzegovina's right to exist. Now, over these remarks, he's been included by Washington on its sanctions list as an individual obstructing the implementation of the 1995 Dayton Agreement. Also, in a 2023 talk with Russian state television, Dodik expressed his wishes for the Serbian parts of Bosnia and Herzegovina to become an independent country.
This verdict is directed first and foremost against Republika Srpska, and it is directed against all Serb people. I urge President Dodik to open a dialogue, to start talks, even though I know it's not easy or simple for him right now, and to show Serbia's commitment to peace, to solving problems through dialogue, and not through threats and blackmail. We are ready to talk with everyone. I am ready to talk with all the representatives of the Bosniak people and the Croat people, so that we can all come together, to say and see at this important moment how to build a constitutional and sustainable Bosnia-Herzegovina for all. But we don't want to bow to a process, the aim of which is to subordinate us and to strip us of the rights we have acquired.
Polish Minister of Defense Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz is due to sign a leasing agreement with the United States for 8 Apache helicopters. Now, Poland is expecting to receive the aircraft by the end of the year, allowing Polish authorities to train and deploy ground crews for their arrival. Now, the deal will be signed during an official ceremony at a military base in Wrocław. Apart from Kosiniak-Kamysz, U.S. and Boeing officials will also attend the event. Now, the deal is worth some $10 billion and will also include logistical and training support. Now, the goal of leasing attack helicopters is to provide Polish pilots with training capabilities ahead of the delivery of 96 Apaches, which will begin in 2028. Earlier this week, Warsaw's defense chief said that because of the distant delivery window, the country must have a backup plan. At the same time, Kosiniak-Kamysz noted that Poland is being prioritized by Boeing and the U.S. government due to its involvement in NATO's defense and its specific geographic location. Today, Poles around the globe are treating themselves to sweets and snacks to mark Fat Thursday. Celebrated annually in Poland, this year, Fat Thursday also came to the EU ambassadors' meeting. Now, served donuts, the EU officials seem to enjoy their meeting. Fat Thursday is linked to the Catholic Church calendar, marking the beginning of the last week before Lent. Traditionally, Poles spend the day meeting with friends in their homes and cafes, eating large quantities of sweets, cakes, and other meals forbidden during Lent. Among the most popular dishes served during Fat Thursday are angel wings, puff pastry fingers with powdered sugar, and Polish donuts known around the world as pączki. And on that, we end this edition of World News here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. Up next, interviews with Ashim Kumar. Stay tuned.